Benny Johnson's the host of the Benny Show. Benny, so I'm doing it wrong. I should have just listed my house as a daycare center, and I would have been living with no mortgage.
I think it's incredible what's happening to Gavin Newsom. He's turning into Cruella de Vil before our very eyes with that hairstyle and color. He is really getting spooked. You're watching the man age in real time between what Nick Shirley is exposing and between what your show is exposing and what we were able to find with the homeless fraud. It's really left to wonder what's real in California. It's certainly not Ilhan Omar's fake winery. Is there anything in California that is left that actually will serve the people living there? And I don't think there is. That's why voter ID has just got one on the ballot. It's going to be on the ballot in November. It's why two Republicans are polling number one and number two far away in large margins, Jesse, for the next governor of the state. I think that people are sick of it. And I think more importantly, you're going to see some massive changes. And it's not just the changes to the people who will be working inside of those hospice centers. I think that's my main question to you, Jesse, is who are those people? What's the poor guy that has to sit there in the white plastic chair all day faking to be a daycare worker or a hospice worker? What are they leering? Where do they train?
They're faking
I don't know, but I really feel sorry for those people.
Well, they're faking to be naked. She was like, I'm naked. And Shirley's like, no, you're not. I know what a naked woman looks like, and you're not naked. Let me ask you, though, did they ever find the vineyard that Omar's husband runs? Or was that fake, too?
Oh, yes, that's absolutely fake. So a couple of things here. One, it's very much not haram, right? I know there were just high Muslim holidays. You're not allowed to own a winery. You're not allowed to own wine. You're not allowed to make wine in Ilhan Omar's religion. This is a big no-no. So listing it on her congressional disclosures is also a big no-no because she showed that obviously this wine, which is out of business and sued for fraud, doesn't exist anywhere in California. As far as I know, has never actually made wine. She says that it's worth $5 million. An extraordinary number. And it's not real, man.
Well, Benny,
it just doesn't exist.
As we know, a lot of things in California look great, but they're not real. and I think we're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that.
It's about as real as Ilhan Omar's marriage certificate to her brother.
We'll see about that. Benny, great to talk to you as always. Thank you so much.
What's in the box? Dead voters drops in the ballot box. Mr. O'Keefe, would you like some drugs? This ballot needs your John Hancock, but guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day it is? It's Hump Day. Get it on. Hump Day. Whoa.
It's great to be out of the suit again. Okay, back into the actual podcast studio where we can rock and roll and move, and welcome to Hump Day. It's over. Well, it's almost over. The week's almost over, but it's actually just getting started. I have breaking news for you. Boy, how much can I actually say? Got a call after that hit on Fox News, which, boys, it works great. We just do the cold. We're always, sometimes in the morning, we're like, what should our news clip be? Well, if we're on Fox, if we do Jesse Waters' show, we just use that. It's easy. We make and build the show in real time. And I got a call after that hit. And I'm going to tell you what the White House told me. Kind of. About it. Because going to be some breaking news. It's going to be awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, things are moving, and they're moving quickly, and they're moving in a good direction. I hope that you can feel it. I can feel it. You can sense it. I mean, obviously, life ain't perfect, but it's Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. California election crimes caught on camera again. James O'Keefe made good on his promise that he's going to be releasing more videos and he's going to be getting people in prison. He says he's going to keep dropping videos until people are in jail. And well, James O'Keefe is going to be joining us on our program today in order to do just that. More breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. ICE has chilled out the airport lines inside of America's toxic workplace environment. The U.S. Congress is trying to extract pain from American travelers, trying to harm American industries, and they punched back. Revenge from the airlines. They are taking away these special congressional privileges. I think that's a beautiful thing. But ISIS fixed the TSA wait times have gone through the floor. And CNN is in shock. A hilarious video. Again, James O'Keefe and James Comer joining the show, along with Congressman Marlon Stutzman from Indiana. First time on the program. And boy, we have some things to say about Indiana. Let's rock and roll. My name is Benny Johnson. This is The Benny Show. So, yeah, last night, I got to tell you, you go and you do, it's not like the latest show on Fox, but it is a relatively late show for me. I will totally admit to you, and I don't know if there's any parents watching right now or any young parents. I know there are parents and young parents watching right now. How do you go to bed? I used to think that being an adult meant that I would go to bed late and I could hang out and it would be so much fun. But my ass is in bed at like 9 o'clock. I'm like done at 9 o'clock. I'm waking up at 5, I'm getting my workout in, feels great. It's like that's like the 9 to 5 that I've swapped. So when you're doing a Fox hit at 9 o'clock, I'm like, oh, it's bedtime. Whew, it's bedtime. But you get all amped up for the Fox hit and you got to chill out. Bon charge. Bon charge is how I do it. I walked right upstairs. You walk right upstairs and you get on that beautiful sauna blanket. Bon charge infrared sauna blanket. Makes you feel ecstatic. It relaxes you. It's good for you. Helps with your endorphins and also helps when you work. Many Americans do, sadly, in a black box like this. It's the black box. And so you need that red light. Anyway, it's extremely, extremely healthy for you. Good for you. Bon charge ships worldwide. All products are HSA and FSA eligible. Pre-tax savings of up to 40%. Free shipping on every single sauna blanket and a 12-month warranty. Go to boncharge.com/Benny and use the coupon code Benny to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com/Benny. Coupon code Benny saves you 15%. I got a call from the White House about that hit. What can I say without getting in trouble? I got a call from the White House about that hit because I was like, Gavin Newsom's in trouble, boys. You can pop that up. There you go. I was like, Gavin Newsom's in trouble. He's got bad things going on in his state. And everybody's focusing on California because of the whole enchilada. Listen, it's like the Titanic versus the lifeboat when it comes to California versus Minnesota on fraud. Just on a sheer numbers basis. Look at the budgets. Look at the amount of money that is able to be stolen in California. That's why every single Democrat, when they're trying to run for president, they run to California. That's why every single Democrat who's going to run for president, like Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom, are from California. It's where the cash is. It's where the money is. Money in New York's drying up. In California, it ain't doing that well either, but there's so many more people in California. It's the most populous state. And it's the state that has, or used to have, some of the best and brightest, fastest growing industries, although a lot of them are fleeing. As of this month, you have the Google founders, you have Elon Musk has gone to Texas, Mark Zuckerberg's now in Florida. All of the founders and all the rich people are moving away. Even the Starbucks CEO has come to Florida, leaving rainy and cold Seattle. So anyway, the point is that these blue states are freaking out. California is freaking out because right now, Gavin Newsom, I would argue, is probably the best shot in 2028. And I know that sounds hilarious to all of us, but I mean, listen, people have short memories and they're dumb. California still has some brand to recognize. And Gavin Newsom's been preparing for this for his entire life. He's got the whole Patrick Bateman shtick. I called him Cruella de Vil last night because of his recent, I saw this interview of him and he had like a shock of white gelled back hair. And it was crazy. He looked just like Cruella de Vil. But he's spooked. Oh, he kind of looks like Patrick Bateman too. Yeah, I also got that. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Alex, see if you can find that like most recent interview with Gavin Newsom. I can't remember what he was talking about. I think he was talking about suing Trump or something like that. Anyway, he's gone completely white. And that's because of guys like James O'Keefe. He's going to be joining our show in just a moment. And it's because of, well, in very small part, us going out there, and they lost their minds on us. I mean, they were losing their mind, freaking out. Same thing with Nick Shirley And Nick keeps dropping banger after banger. And James keeps dropping banger after banger. And now we find out about the bridge, the animal bridge to nowhere. And it's becoming the biggest liability for Gavin Newsom is his management of the state of California. And this was supposed to be the selling point. This was supposed to be what got him the presidency. Look, I was hustling. I was hustling. Right?
And it was just like hustling.
I was just like hustling, man. It was supposed to be Gavin Newsom. Yeah, that's good. It's not exactly what I was thinking about, but yeah, that's good. He was like, no, like he's gone like completely, whoosh, gone like completely white because he's starting to realize, starting to see it all slip away. The more people uncover the grotesque operation that was launched and is now in its like final terminal cancerous stage in California, in order to kill a state and its people, in order to deprive them of their rights, in order to keep power forever. How do you do this? Well, you have to have homeless people. You have to have illegals. Democratic Party can't run without both of those constituencies. You have to then be able to manipulate the homeless and the illegals. You have to be able to ply them with goodies from the federal government, goodies from the state treasury. Like, for instance, illegals get free health care in California. It's sickening. You've all seen, obviously, the fraud reports and the homeless report that we did. Like, was pretty. It's like obvious what was actually happening. It's obvious. The entire superstructure is not about curing any homelessness. It's about increasing as much homelessness as possible in the state to make everything so much worse for the people of California. And so this is, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to cause some real damage to Gavin. We're going to keep hitting this beat. We're going to keep going. It's been something that we're really excited about what we heard from the White House. I mean, that's all like to sort of preface out that the White House called us, and here's what I can say. Stay tuned. Be prepared. This week, you're all aware that J.D. Vance has just gotten confirmed his bulldog attorney. And if that's not in the script, ALX, because we didn't get a chance to chat this morning, we're setting up some big things for the rest of the week. If you could grab that real quickly. J.D. Vance is in charge of the fraud task force overseeing California. This is where it really gets scary for Gavin Newsom. J.D. Vance's fraud task force is something that President Trump has been hyping at the State of the Union, hyping inside of the Oval Office. And now Vance's bulldog assistant attorney has been confirmed and will be taking the position of the actual prosecutor looking into this. So they have a special position now, right here, for far too long. Klein, you had it, bro. Yeah, you had it. Yeah. Colin McDonald will be the key asset at the DOJ, the president's war on fraud. For far too long, illegal alien fraudsters and criminals have been allowed to scam Americans out of their hard-earned tax dollars, and that stops now. Colin McDonald has been confirmed by the Senate and the DOJ as the cheap Minnesota daycare scandal draws national scrutiny. Colin McDonald confirmed on a 52-47 party line basis. He is now the National Fraud Enforcement Division key prosecutor investigating these taxpayer fraud-funded programs. This is going to be a big get. So what did we hear from the White House? What we heard was that we have to stay tuned. We ain't seen nothing yet. Give me some of the background on Colin, please. What's up with this dude? Because I don't actually know like a ton about his nomination. Let's go ahead and check. What's he do? The Senate confirmed Colin McDonald on Tuesday lead the Department of Justice's efforts in cracking down. The fearless federal prosecutor will now work closely with the DOJ and the vice president, who chairs the Trump fraud task force. After serving more than a decade as the assistant attorney in the Southern District of California. Ooh, my. So he's from California. He was a low-profile career federal prosecutor. He gained national attention in 2026 when Donald Trump nominated him. And now the Senate has confirmed the first ever Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement at the U.S. Department of Justice. Lock in, boys. That's what I heard. Lock in. More to come from the White House on this, but it was really cool. I think that you're going to be seeing a really nice realignment towards domestic policy issues, something that's critical to a midterm strategy, something that I thought would be the midterm strategy. Nobody asked me whether we should go to war with Iran. Sadly, I wasn't brought into all the classified briefings because, well, one, I'd be shot on sight. Two, I don't have a security clearance. And three, nobody elected me president. So, like, nobody asked me. Do I like high gas prices? No. Is it great to have high gas prices? No. Is it good to spend more money? No. Am I going to burn? Am I going to set myself on fire and burn all my MAGA hats? No. I voted for Trump 3 times. You get good Trump and bad Trump. You get sometimes Trump you don't agree with. Like, suck it up. Stop being a child. We're all adults here. I can still effort, by the way, with the administration. I think, like, pushing towards domestic policies, which were and are and remain the single most important thing for Americans, and something that is critical for victory for our movement, because it's what we promised the American people. And so the reorientation of the fraud task force, and we're going to be helping with this, the pressure points on the system and the news cycle, and in revealing exactly how we are prosecuting and going about systematically not only finding the fraud, but then denaturalizing and deporting the people who commit it, will be critical for the American people to see. Because this is a unifying subject. There is nothing less sympathetic. You know, when you're playing the PR game, you're like, oh, look at the little girl across the border and she's crying with her dolly, right? It's like, don't care. You can't emotionally manipulate me. Back to Guatemala on the first hot air balloon that we can put you on. But that this is how it normally works with these people. They're looking for a sympathetic story. There is nothing less sympathetic than a Somali fraudster. Get me bananas and rice. I haven't seen bananas and rice for such a long time. Get me bananas and rice. I need it immediately. There's nothing less sympathetic than the Somali fraudsters who are driving G-Wagons, who get up on stage and with their $3,000 and $4,000 pairs of glasses, that was another remarkable circumstance. This Somali fraudster, amazing, by the way, had a giant bandage on her head because allegedly she had been injured by ICE. Turns out that it's all on video, and she spit at the ICE agents and attacked them. But nonetheless, this is what she had to say at her press conference about what Somalians mean to America. This is the Somalian diaspora's big moment to explain to America why we need them and what usefulness they have in our country. Here it is.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean. So I'm Somali.
You're just gonna get what I mean. Something remarkable has happened with bananas and rice. approximately 24 hours later, Bananas and Rice was arrested by Homeland Security investigations and police. Bananas and Rice, shockingly, doesn't have the bandage on her head anymore. Would you look at that, Klein? Can you zoom in, please? Well, look at this. The bandage has disappeared. It's gone. Where'd it go? Wow. And so is that repulsive smile. Look at that. No bandage. They scam us on so many levels. It's like the Infinity Stones. It's like the multiverse of scamming. You know, Avengers has nothing on it. There you go. Perfect. So that's exactly right. These photos were taken 24 hours apart from each other. I don't know how you captured the perfect screenshot here. I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you did it. I mean, there are a lot of bad ones. There it is. This is 24 hours. Where's the bandage, Banana? Where did the bandage go? You heal? You Wolverine? You Wolverine? I want the administration to reorient on this, because not only does this prove exactly what we are all fighting against in our country, these scammers and the insane and suicidal immigration policies that make our entire country worse. I love Glasses Boy. Here's Glasses Boy with his $3,000 pair of glasses. He wanted you to feel sorry for him. He does a press conference to feel sorry for him wearing a $3,000 pair of glasses. Saying that like him and his humble daycare can't survive without infinity glitch money, taxpayer dollars. Feel bad for him.
I want to say that there are hundreds of daycares out there, Somali daycares that are out there, and we all help our children and everyone in our community.
Dude, you're like 12 years old.
High quality daycares.
Enough. We got a packed show. We gotta keep moving on. I'm sorry that I keep like spiraling here, but I'm very excited, and get ready for more breaking news on this week. I don't want to get ahead of people, but get ready for more breaking news. You need to reorient back on this. Low gas prices, low interest rates, cheap homes, cheap groceries, secure border, keeping these people out, and then punishing the people who are already here that are behaving parasitically. That is good. That is America first. That is what we voted for in 2024. And we were almost there. I'm perfectly fine, Black Bag and Nicolas Maduro. I don't care about that. I think that's fine. I think that makes Trump look strong. I think that's good. But you gotta make sure that these foreign entanglements do not destroy your policies domestically. Otherwise, well, it's gonna really damage the movement. So I love the reorientation here. The single most non-sympathetic group of people on earth are these scammers. By the way, James O'Keefe, exposing the scammers once again, dropped yesterday in California, yesterday evening, James O'Keefe, mass cash for ballot scam. Let's go ahead and watch here the top line. California mass in-person election fraud crimes caught on camera. Recordings show homeless are paid by petitioners to forge real voters' signatures to sign ballot petitions on Skid Row thousands of times. Disenfranchised voters are outraged after being shown the signature. James O'Keefe doing so much good work here on behalf of the American people and legal Californians. Let's go.
I want to sign. Okay. The first name.
I'm Joseph Albright. Okay.
The first name.
Joseph Albright.
Fraudulent petitioners on Skid Row are now paying the homeless to forge names, forge addresses, and forge signatures of registered voters.
What are you using? Teresa.
No, I'm gonna give you an address to write.
Oh, okay.
Follow directions.
Okay, yeah.
This is Robert.
quickly becoming a widespread scheme that can be found on almost every street corner in downtown Los Angeles.
So you're going to go do this, they're going to give you another $3. Then you're going to do somebody else, they're going to give you another $3.
So you guys are all working together.
You asking a lot of, you scaring me.
We find thousands of names and addresses of registered voters being handed out to the homeless on scraps of paper.
Oh, cool. They pay you? How much? Oh, what name you have there? Oh, it's Vicky Walker. You're Vicky, huh?
He gave me the name.
Oh, cool.
We track down the disenfranchised voters at their homes to get the reaction to their signature being forged.
Wow.
They're giving names of currently registered voters, and one of them is a Vicky Walker. I assume that's his address?
Still get her ballot, but...
You still get her ballot?
Yeah. Doesn't live here. I bought this house nearly 9 years ago.
Okay.
So that's why I always feel really weird when I get the voting ballot. It's like, obviously that's fraudulent.
Definitely want to stay informed. We definitely want to follow through on this and see where they're getting this information, how they're getting this information.
Yeah. I just hope we get a stop to this soon. I mean, I didn't know that they were using my name and address for what's political fraud. That's what it is, right? Yeah. Just hopefully the governor and the district attorney or whatever just put a stop to this. Yeah.
This is such important work. I'm so thrilled that we have James joining us in just a minute. Like, this is what you can do when you don't actually have a voting system, when you simply have a balloting infrastructure. There's nothing to check the signatures. There's nothing to check the registrations. You can register anyone, anywhere. James O'Keefe's getting beat in the street, by the way, because of this. Because of his work here, James O'Keefe nearly died. Some of the vagrants or some of the paid agitators, hitmen from the Democrat Party, attacked James in the middle of the street, wounded and injured and bloodied his cameraman. And these monsters, I don't know, are they going to get away with it? I guess that's ultimately the question. James's commentary on the criminal penalties here, because obviously this is happening. There's homeless fraud, there's hospice fraud, there's obscene amounts of welfare fraud, but there's no voting fraud. Don't worry. The voting fraud's good. We found all these people registered at the toilet. It's good. The Secretary of State says you can register anywhere. But don't worry, it's secure. You could register at the Burger King parking lot. You can register on the street corner at the stop sign. What are the penalties if they were enforced? It's like virtually impossible to enforce them. You have to do what James O'Keefe is doing, go undercover. What are the penalties for forging someone's signature here?
And then the address.
And then
There you go.
keep going.
You're like watching like a hawk. Like I'm going to do.
I can't let you mess up my paper because if you mess up, I can't get paid.
Oh, I see.
Now, this is a violation of California Election Code 18613, which states every person who subscribes to any initiative, referendum, or recall petition, a fictitious name, or who subscribes thereto the name of another, or who causes another to subscribe such a name, is guilty of a felony and is punishable by imprisonment 2, 3, or 4 years. The homeless person is then expected to forge the voter's signature. Forging a signature is a violation of California Penal Code 470, which states every person who with the intent to defraud, counterfeits, or forges the seal or handwriting of another is guilty of forgery. The journalist noticed the homeless person next to her was also referencing a list of registered voter names and proceeded to ask who he was signing as.
How much are you going to get paid? $3? How many signatures you signing, though? I'm Joseph. Who are you? Who you're signing for?
Look at it happen.
Joseph also? You're repeating Joseph? It's not going to count. What are you using? Teresa.
Not to be presumptive, but this is clearly not Teresa. And this wasn't an isolated incident. It appears that this process of assigning the homeless an identity of a registered voter to forge their signature has been adopted by all of the petition fraudsters simultaneously.
Remarkable. It's so obvious, it's so easy to find that it just straight up happens in the street. Not even particularly hard for James O'Keefe to pop on over and to film this. Again, James, in just a moment. Heritage has a full-on fraud map that you can check out here. These are the states where the majority of the fraud Investigations, prosecutions, ongoing charges are going on. And what you'll find is that while there are some states that are way worse than others, they're everywhere. Every single state has election fraud in it. Every single week now, a criminal alien is charged with voting. I thought that never happened. In California, a lady was just charged with her dog voting. The dog successfully voted in multiple elections. How many animals are in California? Are they all voting? It's going to be a force of will in order to fix this problem, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to talking about it with our next guest from a state, by the way, that, that could have done a lot more, I would say, to save the Republic. If you wish to save the Republic and your American future, American Financing, by the way, is the company that you should be going to. American Financing can really set you up if you got bad credit card debt. And so millions of people do. There's no shame in it. Stuff's expensive, man. It's probably my biggest gripe right now, is that stuff's expensive. Things are too expensive. I know that it takes a while to exercise the demons, but everything from grocery to gas is too expensive. People go in on credit card debt, and that credit card debt has high interest rates, and that can really wreck your future. Reconsolidate and get back your interest rates in the low fives, below the Fed's funds rates. American Financing can set you up. Give American Financing a call. America's home for home loans. 888-528-1219. 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Remember, Donald Trump wants usury rates to be illegal. Critically important. Marlon Stutzman joining the show right now. Congressman from the state of Indiana. Let's go. Congressman, thank you so much for being on the program. Fraud is, I guess, going to be the question of the rest of the week. J.D. Vance just got his fraud czar nominated and installed at the DOJ. I don't know if there's much election fraud going on in the state of Indiana, but a critical question, a critical issue for the American people.
Yeah, Benny, great to be with you. Great job last night with Jesse Waters. Indiana, I was in the state legislature about 15 years ago, and we passed voter ID laws to address these problems that we were seeing up in Lake County, which is just outside of Chicago. So East Chicago, Gary, Hammond, that area, we were seeing a lot of voter ID problems or ID problems with those who were trying to vote. And then also a couple of other rural counties where the Democrat chairmen were taking advantage and being able to manipulate the ballots in those particular areas. We had a strong attorney general. We fought the fight in the legislature. We passed the voter ID laws. We made it so easy. In fact, we even keep our Department of Motor Vehicles, our BMV, open on the day of election. That way people can go get a free ID if they don't have one. We took out every excuse possible, and we have seen a huge change in Indiana, and Bugs Bunny is no longer voting in Indiana.
Huh, okay. I mean, it does beg a question. Are they going to actually put the Bears in Indiana?
You know what?
You mentioned that area, it's the Hammond area, right? They're thinking about doing that.
It is. While we didn't get the redistricting done, which was a shame that we didn't get that done in Indiana, we may actually steal the Bears away from Chicago.
Okay. You have some trash talk on that, Congressman? I mean, come on, man.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, look at Chicago. And this is real. This is politics. When the Bears, who are just known to be in Chicago, are looking at Indiana to move their new stadium, I mean, think about it. Do you want your house in Illinois for their property taxes for the next 50 years? I mean, if you build a $3 billion stadium, you're going to try to find the best place for property taxes and other. But you know what? I think Chicago, they don't care about fiscal responsibility. They'll probably make up some sort of, program and somehow know that it's going to only cost the Illinois taxpayer more debt to try to keep them there. But I'm hoping that the Bears make their way to Indiana.
Is that a sure thing? What's the process there? Sorry, I'm like a little, I grew up in Iowa, so like Midwest is the best. The farther I get away from the Midwest, the more I realize we're all just kind of, like I'll hold down even for people in Illinois, but like Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, I was in Ohio this weekend. I missed the Midwest, to be honest with you. But but anyway, it matters to me. This is a thing of legend. It made a lot of sense when I was looking at the math, Congressman. If you had Indiana taxes, you could really recruit some incredible players, knowing that they're not going to have to pay the Illinois and Chicago taxes on the principal they get from the NFL and from their team. You could actually really raise your cap pretty significantly just based on moving to Indiana. You have a much better ball team.
For sure. And, the Bears need to really think about this in a 50-year period, because do we think Illinois is going to do any better? In fact, the southern half of the state of Illinois is asking, in fact, the Indiana legislature voted on to take about 25 counties into our state. Now, the Illinois legislature is not going to ever let them go. I mean, they need their taxes too badly. And so that shows you that people in Illinois are tired of the Democrat policies, the liberal policies that Obama and, of course, the Pritzker family and others have forced on the Illinois family.
So that's fascinating. I'm asking my production team if we have a map on that. Okay, so there's the Illinois exit, right? Something like that, to Indiana. I love these stories. So are you in favor of that? So this would be like the bottom half of Illinois, which is bright red, right? Dark red counties, farm counties, salt of the earth counties, good counties, great places to be from. So they want to join. Is there a vote going on? Would you be in favor of this? Would you be in favor of Indiana? Drink your milkshake?
Hey, anytime we can bring freedom to people, even here in America, if they live in Illinois, I'm for it. There was a legislative vote. In fact, the Speaker of the House, Todd Houston, who was also for redistricting, by the way, is the legislator that carried the legislation that would accept those states into Indiana. So we'd look a little bit more like Louisiana rather than, a very nice rectangular Indiana. So, but I think it just shows that people in Illinois are tired of the policies there, and they're actually moving into Lake County across the Indiana line. They're still able to work in Chicago, but they get the taxes of Indiana and the better services of Indiana, and the infrastructure is all there. And if we did get the Bears stadium there, that would just revitalize that whole area. Gary used to be a pearl city in the Midwest, but because of Democrat mayors there for many years, they just, and the unions, they ran the jobs out of that particular area of the state. And it's coming back around. We've got some good, much better leadership than what we did in the past. And, we've paid a lot of attention up there. It's a great place for our state, of course, with the access to Lake Michigan.
So here it is, the map. This is amazing. I can't believe I haven't seen this map, Congressman. Annex, Illinois. Look at this. This comes from the local NBC station. Here's a map of what it might actually look like. Greater Indiana. Look at that. I know that there's a thank you. I know that there's a already a redistricting fight. I want to get to that in just a second. But that's awesome. Look at that. Let's go Swagger Jack. Go Swagger Jack, Illinois. These people don't want to be part of Illinois. Same thing's going on in Oregon and Idaho. Yeah. I mean, they got some real momentum on that. Indiana lawmakers advance bill aimed at taking counties from Illinois. Okay, would you vote for this?
Yes.
Would you advocate for this? Look at that.
Yes,
that would be awesome.
Well, we'll take people that, of course, want freedom. Indiana is such a great place to do business. We're family friendly. We're in the middle of the country. Logistically, it makes a lot of sense. But, those folks in the southern part of Illinois, they just get beat on daily from Chicago politics that, of course, they just simply don't care for, and they take them for granted.
Okay, look at that. It looks like amazing. It looks like you've even posted about it on social media. Your team has sent something along. Okay, so let's just move very swiftly here to the Indiana Senate. And you said that you were in the state legislature. And what's going on with this fight with Trump? It was very disappointing for everybody. It was kind of like the movement kind of needed like a win, and to say that we're going to counter what California is doing and what Virginia is doing. And Indiana, is like a Trump plus 20, plus 30 red state. Like, why couldn't Indiana get it done, Congressman?
No, it's a very frustrating question, because in the Senate, in fact, both the House and the Senate, we have supermajorities. We've had supermajorities since 2012, roughly. And so we have 40 Republicans, 10 Democrats in the Senate. This is a no-brainer. This is not a hard vote. This is a team vote. You simply put on the Republican jersey and say, you know what? This is how we're voting. Pretty simple. But a couple of our senators, at least 20 of them, led by Senate Leader Rod Bray, got their feelings hurt because they felt President Trump was too pushy. It's like, come on, guys, you have to realize the fight that we're in D.C. They don't have these fights in Indianapolis because they have super majorities. So what does it matter? They don't have to have the fights with Democrats like we do in D.C.
That's a great point. So was that really it? I'm sure you know these guys. I'm sure you know these players. I'm from the Midwest. Like, political circles are small. You end up knowing these people. They come to the barbecue. So that was really it. They got his feelings hurt. He got okay.
Well, I mean,
that's wild, bro. I mean, like, are we children? Are you children?
They like to say, oh, well, you know what? We're going to follow the Constitution, which the Constitution doesn't say you have to wait until the census is done every 10 years. They said, we don't want to break precedent. We've already done fair maps for Indiana. Well, you know what? Virginia doesn't care. California doesn't care. Illinois, they would do it again if they could get a couple more seats out. Massachusetts is as Democrat as Indiana is Republican. It's 9 Democrats to 0 Republicans in Massachusetts. They've been that way for years. And so, again, I know we're trying to do the right thing by being objective, but guess what? Democrats are not, and we're going to be in the minority. I tell you, Benny, my greatest fear is waking up after Election Day and we're down in the House of Representatives by 1 or 2 seats, and Indiana could have prevented that from happening.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, these are the margins that we're dealing with, and it's frustrating to not have the will to actually win.
Yeah.
And we see that constantly with Republicans, where it's like, it's a meme of us like getting marched off into the concentration camps, but it's like, but at least we have our high road and high value system. You're right. Like at least they tried to do that. They tried to put us in They did lockdown camps during COVID.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like at some point, smash mouth and force is the only thing that people understand, and it's the only thing that actually wins. And it's been very frustrating. What should happen in Indiana? I know that President Trump is enraged about this. So everybody got like these grown men get their feelings hurt. And now they're getting primaried. Is that going to work out?
Well, we're going to find out here on May 5th. In fact, President Trump just endorsed 20 Senate candidates, some incumbents, some challengers. But anyone who opposed, I mean, they're all on record. That's the other thing, too. The Senate leader, instead of him just taking the heat himself and saying we're not going to vote on it in the Senate, he put everyone on record. And so, you know what? Fine. That way we know exactly where every senator stood on this issue. And so May 5th is the primary. President Trump endorsed a lot of them. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that understand how important this is. In fact, I was talking to one senator the other day. I was like, you could have done so many other things for the good of Indiana through this whole negotiation. And he's like, well, nobody told me that. And it's like, you know what, guys, we did tell you, and you should be paying attention and understanding that the way that the maps are drawn has national implications. And you all know that the House of Representatives, in fact, Mike Johnson was making calls to every one of them. And J.D. Vance, the vice president, he met with them several times. They knew the consequences if we didn't do anything. And then they went to try to make a deal, according to the Senate leader, tried to cut a deal with Maryland and said, if you don't redistrict, we won't redistrict, and somehow try to act like they were above all of this. But again, this is what happens. Democrats are good at politics. Republicans are good at policy. But if you don't win on Election Day, your good policy doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just cuck loser energy, and I hate it. And it's just what I grew up with. You can sense it from a mile away. The Mitt Romney, John McCain style Jeb Bush energy of like, we'll lose, but we'll lose virtuously. And, and we won't want to hurt anyone's feelings while we do this. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess like, do you think that there's, for the final question on this, do you think that there's anything, do you think there's something else going on behind the scenes? Because it seems strange to me in our current political environment still kind of have these feelings, right? Of like the Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush's like high-minded, like it's like that's been out for a long time. And like if there was a way to bribe people or to manipulate them through lobbying efforts, this would be like a great use of money. right, to try and peel people off. And there were so many senators that voted against. It wasn't particularly close in the Senate. The House overwhelmingly passed it. There's so many senators that broke away. It feels to me like something happened. Like there's something more than just grown men with hurt feelings, babies.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of TDS even with these senators. A lot of them were elected in caucuses. They didn't run through tough elections. A tough election will toughen you up very quickly. And I do think there was some of the old guard that was able to get to the Senate leader's ear. And, Mitch Daniels, who I greatly admired Mitch Daniels as a governor, but he comes out with an op-ed opposing redistricting. He would have done it. I'll guarantee you, if George W. Bush would have asked Mitch Daniels to redistrict back during the Bush administration, Governor Daniels would have done it because he understood the reasons why. And I do think there's these mixed camps in the Republican Party between the Bush era, Romney era, and the Trump era. But what happened is President Trump comes along, Donald Trump comes along and showed the Republican Party how to fight. And the American people, the Republicans across the country said, finally, somebody's going to stand up to Obama. Somebody's going to stand up to the left. Somebody's going to stand up and fight Biden and the Democrats. I mean, this Democrat Party is not grandma's Democrat Party anymore. I mean, they're Marxist. I mean, they're communists. They self-profess to be Marxists and socialists. So they're not the Democrat Party of old. Now, maybe the roots were always there, and now finally it's just metastasized, which we've always thought that it would, and it finally has happened. But I mean, sadly, and maybe, somebody said, well, if you oppose redistricting, we're going to help you win these races. They're going to, I mean, money-wise, they're going to get, it's not even close. I think the Senate campaign has in the state of Indiana has around $3 million. There's so much more money coming in. You got young people. That's the other thing. TPUSA kids, young people are watching this whole situation play out, and they see that we're not fighting back, and they're thankfully stepping up and realizing that you have to fight. I mean, politics is a tough sport, and if you get your feelings hurt, you need to get out.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable how the same thing is happening in the Senate right now on a national level, where Republicans are just refusing to fight. Maybe like, you started the conversation talking about voter ID and fixing and saving the voter rolls. Obviously, we've been an advocate for this happening on a state-by-state basis. It's amazing how the states could do it actually quite quickly and could fix this. And also, of course, you wouldn't need the SAVE Act if you deported every criminal alien here. If you have no illegals, there'd be no illegal voting. But nonetheless, like what's going on with that? What would be your advice? What would be your message to the senators on the SAVE Act that I know that you've been a major proponent of?
Yeah, no, same thing here. It's like we don't want to break tradition, and we want to keep the filibuster rule in place. I mean, this whole thing of having reconciliation, which is a different rule that you only need to have 51 senators vote to pass reconciliation, but anything else has to go through the filibuster rule, except for the judges. They keep changing the rules in the Senate. And in this case, when you talk about the Save America Act, it truly is just that. I mean, it's going to at least build trust back up in the system where every state is required to have photo ID laws, to show proof of citizenship, to be able to vote. And but the Senate Republicans, I've got a lot of friends over there. I know Mike Lee's fighting for this, but others. But the fact is they're hiding behind an archaic rule that the Democrats and Republicans, whenever they're in the minority, they always use it against the other party. Well, I've got news. I mean, I think that we all know that the filibuster rule is dead and gone as soon as Democrats get the majority again. And we're going to play along here and act like we're going to hold our somehow our integrity. We're going to honor tradition because the filibuster rule has been around for, I don't know, maybe 70 years. It's not been forever. And they're manipulating and misusing the filibuster rule to keep Republicans from passing bills. I think the American people, we all know, we voted for Republicans in the Senate. 53 Republicans are the majority. We expect us to pass legislation. But instead, we're letting the Democrats stop us over this filibuster rule. Protect the talking filibuster rule, I'm fine with that. But to have this zombie filibuster to be allowing that to maintain over there, that's what's stopping Republicans from passing legislation that truly would fix America on so many different levels.
Man, you're so right about Mitch Daniels. You're so right about, like, you know, it's like the manipulation has been very, very frustrating. Mitch Daniels wanted to run for president. He was doing anything he possibly could to serve George W. Bush, and to get this done. And how the pragmatism like fades as soon as like the money dries up or somebody else starts paying you. You've seen the same thing, obviously, with Pence. It's been very, very frustrating.
Yes.
To watch the lack of a will to win.
Yes.
That's what this show's about. So we thank you, Congressman, for being on and for holding the side up, as they say. We hope that you'll continue to advocate for redistricting. I mean, I'm not sure that'll make any difference now, but there's going to be another election in 2028, so maybe we can have another crack at this. Everybody follow the Congressman from Indiana right here, and Godspeed, Congressman.
Thank you, Benny. Great to be with you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, very interesting. It's always great to have like a brand new guest on the program and to speak with people in these states that haven't been regulars. And this is how you sort of build up a rep. I mean, I remember Tim Burchett kept coming on, and nobody even knew who the hell that guy was. And then, like, fast forward, he goes viral a couple times on our show. It's like straight up bangers. And now he's like on CNN every day. Don't hold that against him, ladies and gentlemen. I know that Tim Burchett uses a Patriot Mobile phone. I know that Tim Burchett is a patriot. He's often posting his selfie videos. And he's just like us. We're going to be traveling, I think, for the rest of the week. We'll have a show tomorrow, but we'll be traveling the rest of the week. We'll be at CPAC, and then we're going to be heading to D.C. We're excited about it. Patriot Mobile will be locking us in and making sure that we are connected every single step of the way. They are the only Christian conservative wireless provider in the world. They are the ones who keep us connected on the road, and they are the backbone of how we broadcast when we are traveling. Ladies and gentlemen, their U.S.-based customer support can get you to switch today to their unlimited plans, mobile hotspots, and international roaming. A simple, seamless activation, and you can be ready to roll. Take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT and use the promo code Benny. Get a free month of service. Don't wait. It's patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and call a patriot. That would be the patriot James O'Keefe, who my team is telling me just is set and ready right now, right in the nick of time. Obviously, I want to show you guys I was worried for him. I texted him because he was on the program, and then I see this video of him getting assaulted and his team getting assaulted in the streets. And look at this. Holy smokes. I said, James, get better bodyguards. Holy moly, man. And Cam Higby's there. It's dangerous stuff, right? These guys are getting bloodied. It's dangerous stuff. James O'Keefe joining us live right now to talk about it. We were worried for you, James. We were worried for you. I know that these kind of things require stiff spine, right? And not a glass jaw. But be careful out there in these streets. You're uncovering a $1 billion system to rig California, and there's a lot of people who are going to go broke if they actually institute reforms here.
Yeah, you just saw the assault against Andrew, my producer, on Friday, and yesterday we released the new video. There was the guy getting punched in the face. That was one of the fraudsters that was selling drugs for ballots and for signatures, which is a California felony. And then yesterday's video, we show cash in exchange for impersonating other voters. I don't think anyone's ever captured that on video before. That's the video you're seeing right now. You're looking at a piece of paper. The homeless are being given names and addresses of currently registered voters, and they're told to forge their signatures on ballot petitions in California. We're told this doesn't happen, But what makes this video so extraordinary is you actually see the cash transaction on tape. And I don't think that's ever been captured before in to scale like we caught it there.
You previewed this the last time that you were on, I believe it was last week, and you said, man, this is true voter fraud captured on camera. You even went to the homes of the people who were disenfranchised here. The real question here is, not about a couple of people taking $5, $10 payouts for every fraudulent signature, but the system itself that would allow for this. And the California law allows for this.
Yeah,
because there is no signature verification.
No
right?
signature verification.
Yeah. No ID verification. Nobody knows. It's just like a number off into the ether. It's illegal to ask people their IDs to vote. So how the hell would you ever even catch this unless you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, what makes this tape so extraordinary is it's non-circumstantial evidence. It's not just hearsay or we know it happens. You actually see the crime on video. The post-it notes have the names of the voters who went to the voters' homes. One of the guys we spoke with, he said, yeah, I've gotten a ballot here for 9 years, and I named my cat after this person because I keep getting their ballot. The other voters we spoke with were very upset their vote was disenfranchised. So it's a civil rights violation. This is, by any measure, by acclamation, the most important thing that we've ever done. Now, I told you I was going to release a tape every day until someone's arrested, and I will continue to do that. It upsets me, by the way, I'm not going to mention any names, but major media organizations are afraid to cover this because it's an election fraud topic, and they don't want to get sued. But this is different because the crime is on tape. I've heard back from the FBI, the DOJ, Governor Newsom. He did not attack me. He said they should arrest these people. The LA District Attorney, the LAPD, and the California Secretary of State are all investigating this.
The president has also posted about it. And I guess this is great. You have a comment and statement from the White House here. But what does it matter unless somebody goes to jail?
Correct. Nothing matters unless someone goes to jail. So we have to figure out how to make that happen. And the only way that I can see it happening is if we just keep releasing more evidence of crimes on tape. I think someone will go to jail. I think one of the challenges the state authorities are having, just so that your audience understands, and I didn't fully understand this, is that if they go in and arrest people right now, they're not going to maybe not be able to turn those people into like confidential informants against the higher ups. So we can, I think people can be arrested tomorrow. It's just a question of, we want to know who's behind it. So my team is currently in the field finding out who's behind it. We even, Benny, went into the homes of one of the bad guys. They let us in and they were kind of flipping on their bosses. So we, the citizen journalists, are kind of doing the job of the FBI. I mean, this is what really the billion-dollar Leviathan should be doing. And I think that's a sign of the times, really, is what it is. This is why it requires small, independent, no red tape citizen journalists to do the job. But I'm frustrated. Like we're getting punched in the neck. My team, they're here. Andrew's a hero. Cam Higbie's a hero. He had pepper spray to make sure I wasn't killed, but we're risking our lives to do this. And the only thing we ask is that somebody be arrested and that the billion-dollar media corporations take a risk and put it on the air, because we're taking the risk. So I'm a little bit frustrated here, but I'm going to keep fighting like hell and keep releasing a tape every day.
Yeah, I mean, if you can play Nick Shirley's stuff, then surely you can play this. I mean, this, as much as there's an illusion.
Well, they got sued for the Dominion lawsuit, so they're worried about liability. But again, if you've got billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, I don't have billions of dollars. Cam Higbie doesn't have billions of dollars. Anthony Rubens doesn't have any money. Savannah Hernandez works for. I mean, so if independent people are risking everything to bring the truth to the American people, I think it's important for our institutions to just for a second to do the right thing and to put the truth over profits. I'm not going to stop. I'm putting pressure on. We got new tape coming out today, but if you haven't seen it, this latest investigation in Skid Row, you got dozens and dozens of instances of cash given to, they get a piece of paper, they say, here, vote in this person's name. It's pretty remarkable footage there on Skid Row. And the disenfranchised voters are saying they're outraged after being shown their name was used to vote on this California ballot petition.
So it's a pretty critical question, is what's to stop this from happening in every election? I mean, what you're showing here is not just the signatures. You're showing like the actual voting. You're showing that they're just forging people's ballots and their names. And we've heard about this. We've seen plenty of reports about it. Nobody seems to be particularly concerned because these mail-in balloting systems, and when it's illegal to ask for a voter ID, you can just do this. You could just vote. Like, you could just rig every single election and just have homeless people do it. Seems to me like maybe the reason to have so many homeless people and illegals in California would be this system.
This is happening tens of thousands of times. But the problem is the New York Times Sunday wrote, this doesn't happen. So we don't share realities. And you say that we already know this. People say we already know this is happening. Actually, I would disagree. I think people don't know this is happening. And further, I think there's a difference between hearsay and circumstantial evidence, like people wearing gloves, doesn't mean they're committing voter fraud. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen the reports. It's always circumstantial, right? You never get the smoking gun. You never catch them in the act. The reason why Gavin Newsom is not attacking me right now, and he's going, oh, we got to arrest these people, which is, people were surprised by that, by the way. Well, the reason why Gavin Newsom is not attacking me is because the crime is caught on video. I mean, it's a constitutional crisis, you know. So, you know, there has to be an arrest. There has to be. If there isn't, I mean, after this, then, I mean, your point is well taken. I could go to every other state and do it. And that's what muckraker.com had an idea yesterday, because I had him on, and he said, you know what, maybe we need to go to every other state, and do the same damn thing. I think that's probably what we'll do. But if nobody is arrested after being on the videotape, literally forging a signature and giving cash to vote in other people's names, we're in a state of constitutional crisis that shocks the conscience. So I'm glad that President Trump posted on Truth Social about it. I'm calling on Pam Bondi to go in front of a microphone and talk about it and tell us the status. There's Trump talking about it. He says it's terrible. But I think the Department of Justice needs to, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a hybrid approach. You rate them, you flip some people on others, but there's got to be perp walks. There's got to be handcuff. I mean, I've been handcuffed 3 times. You know about that. FBI raided my home. I was arrested in 2010. I've been arrested. So there has to be somebody has got to be arrested this week, period. End of story. And if not arrest, then go on television and tell us about what you think about this tape. That's what has to happen.
Where does this go, James? You say that you have people potentially flipping on the higher-ups. Who are the higher-ups? What does your gut tell you?
Well, right now, I have people in the field.
The money's coming from somewhere.
Yes, it is.
You know, and it's a lot of money. Even if it's $5 per signature to a homeless person, there's like suitcases of hundreds of thousands of dollars where the $5 comes from, right?
That's correct. You got a huge audience. So if I say what it is right now, it might hurt my ability over the next few days to continue getting it. But
of course,
there's petitioners and there's coordinators, and it appears as though this is like organized crime. And the thing about organized crime is it's extremely dangerous. So you could have gangs involved in this. There are companies that do this, but they're criminal actions. So there's out-of-state people that come into California. They make a lot of money, and we've been given the names of those companies, and we're currently tracking them down. But yeah, James O'Keefe and Cam Higbee and Savannah Hernandez and Anthony Rubin and John Cho has a report out today. We are going to find the higher-ups and expose them. But I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, without accountability, what does it matter? What does it matter? If no one is held accountable, does bringing it I guess the question for your audience is a rhetorical question. Do you want me to continue doing this? Do you want me to continue exposing it? Does it even matter? I mean, that's a rhetorical question. I'm not going to answer that because I can stop. I can give up. I can retire. But I'm not going to put my life in harm's way and my people's life, because they were almost killed, for nothing. It's not worth it. I think you would agree with that. So I can go away. I can be on a sabbatical until someone is arrested. But I'm not going to put my people's life in danger every week for nothing to happen. That's honest. I'm just being vulnerable and transparent with the world. I'm not going to get killed. I saw what happened to Charlie Kirk. I don't want to die. I need to stay on this earth to keep exposing the truth. So I can go on vacation. I can go away. And when y'all are going to arrest somebody, I'll come back. Because I'll tell you what, getting punched in the neck, having nobody get arrested, it's not right. It's immoral is what it is. And the Republicans are in power. The Attorney General of the United States has the jurisdiction to arrest someone tomorrow. I haven't seen any statements on the internet or on Fox News or anywhere else about this. And I frankly, I get there's egos involved, but I think it's a form of cowardice. I'm glad the president is talking about it. I think he should continue to talk about it. And I will continue to keep releasing videos this week. But I'm pissed off. And I'm pissed off because my friend and my closest colleague was violently assaulted and came an inch from we came an inch from losing our lives. Knives and guns there. And I need something to happen. I really need something to happen. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stop doing what I'm doing. And I don't know what else to say.
The waterfall of thanks for you is happening in real time. I mean, I can put up the comments right now, but you can see how everybody is saying, never stop, go get them, praying for you right now. Yes, yes, keep going, James, keep going, James. Enough is enough. Yes, keep going, James. Yes, from Hawaii. There you go. There's plenty of this in Hawaii. Yes, expose away. The people are behind you, but I understand what it feels like to be, frustrated and black-pilled and to wonder, like, will anything ever happen? I guess coming up right after you is going to be James Comer, and he's getting seated right now. What he's set? Okay, what would be your suggestion for James Comer? He has subpoena power in the House. What would
My
be
suggestion is for James Comer to look at the tape we released yesterday. I don't know James Comer, but I believe him to be a good man. Look at the video, James. Congressman, correct?
Of course, yes.
Congressman Comer.
Oversight chairman.
Oversight chairman, even better. Share the video with your colleagues on Capitol Hill. I've got Mike Casey on the Hill right now, knocking on every single door of the people with the SAVE Act. I look at the video, share the video, have the courage to talk about this video. That's all I ask. We don't want to talk about election fraud. That's going to get us sued. This is not a circumstantial tape. This is a video evidence of it's like the old cartoons with the bank robbers with the bag of money. Like, that's what this is. So yes. Have the courage to talk about it, Congressman, and share it with your colleagues. And then ask your friends in the White House and in the executive branch of government what they're going to do about it. That's all I ask you to do. Simply ask the question, hey, what are you going to do about it? Because you're in power. I don't have the power to arrest people. That's what my request for James Comer would be.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the great James O'Keefe, two great Jameses back to back, the great James O'Keefe on here demanding action. At some point, you have to see positive results if you're willing to risk your life for something. Otherwise, people are just not going to believe it anymore. You have to see it. This is why people are perfectly happy to die for their faith. But why millions and millions of men have stood throughout time to die for Christianity is because they know it to be true. They know it to be powerful. If you have somebody like James willing to risk his life for the truth, you have to be willing to show that something's going to happen, that the world's going to change in a more positive way. So please, ladies and gentlemen, follow James. James, you have a ton of support on the show. You have nothing but love. You have a waterfall of love here in the chat right now. everyone's saying prayers for you. And James, I hope to be able to go out in the field with you sometime soon. I know that we're chatting about
I would love that.
some stuff.
I know you're busy, but I'd love that at some point.
It's the same thing. I think about my kids, right? You balance, like, I want to be able to come home to my kids, right, and not die, with I want them to have a safe and clean and prosperous and functional country to live in.
I don't know what future your kids are going to have, to be honest with you.
Right, that's right. So it's
I
like
don't
you
know
have to
if there's
balance.
going to be a future at all. Dystopian nightmare, constitutional crisis, no justice under law. And you and I might go to prison if the wrong people are in power. That doesn't seem like a good future to me.
James, no black pilling.
No black pill, but
no black pilling.
I'm defining I'm defining reality, and I just want people to get arrested. So pardon me, but I do want to be in the field with you, and I look forward to that.
We're gonna bring your questions to Jamie Comer right now. Thank you, James. Godspeed.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just heard from my producer that James Comer is set and ready to rock. Let's bring on the chairman right now with our first question, posed by James O'Keefe. Let's go. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for being back with us. Obviously, James O'Keefe was very excited to ask you a question about voter fraud and the fraud in California. I know this has been a hot topic for you right now. People need to see arrests. People need to see accountability, things actually happening. I know you're the man for the job. The floor is yours.
Well, I would love to arrest people, but we don't have the authority to arrest anyone. All I have the authority to do is subpoena and investigate. And that's what we've been doing in Minnesota with the fraud. We proved that both Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison knew about the fraud. And we're seeing accountability in Minnesota. There have been about 24 arrests already. From people who were defrauding the social programs in Minnesota. The Department of Justice has many more people on the ground. They're building cases up against many more people. And I think we're going to see a lot of people in handcuffs in Minnesota for the fraud.
Okay, so that's fascinating. This is something that, the audience is going to love to hear. Can you expound on that? So we're going to see a lot of people in handcuffs in Minnesota for the fraud. Can you unpack that for us?
So what the Department of Justice, which is Pam Body's the Attorney General, this is her Department of Justice, they are the ones that have the authority to arrest, not Congress. Congress can investigate and we can do criminal referrals and things like that. But the Department of Justice has to be the entity that uses the handcuffs on people and actually prosecutes people and puts people in prison. So the Department of Justice has already arrested several dozen people in Minnesota. They have about 4 or 5 dozen more ongoing cases that they're trying to make presentations in front of the grand juries to try to get more arrests. They are on the ground in Minnesota now because of the outcry from the video, from our committee hearings and our investigation with the whistleblowers in Minnesota. And they're using that information to build cases against the actual fraudsters in Minnesota. So that's one area where we're seeing real accountability. Now, we've moved our investigation on to California. What we found in California, we're zeroing in on hospice fraud. And hospice is like the program everyone in America supports. That's, at the end of your life, when hospice comes in to take care of you and your family in your deepest, darkest days. This program has been massively defrauded in California, specifically in Los Angeles County, to the tune of about $3.5 billion. That's just in one county in California, the fraud. So we're going to try to do what we can to help the Department of Justice get on the ground there and start prosecuting actual people for defrauding hospice. And I'm sure there are a host of other social programs. All of your social programs in these blue states are being defrauded. You've got illegals receiving benefits. You've got duplicate names receiving benefits. You have shyster contractors, like what you saw with the Somali fraud, with the Leering Center and all of that stuff. Those are the people that need to be prosecuted. All we can do in Congress, all I can do as chairman of the House Oversight Committee, all Jim Jordan can do as chairman of the Judiciary Committee is investigate and refer to the Department of Justice. So I take a lot of flack because nobody's been arrested. I remind everyone that's the Attorney General's job. That's in the Trump administration. But we're doing everything we can in Congress to help the Department of Justice be successful. And I think we're seeing success in Minnesota. Now, I'd like to see a whole lot more success everywhere else.
So you said last night that Gavin Newsom better lawyer up. How much of this do you think goes back to the governor's desk, Mr. Chairman?
Because there have been audits for several years that have specifically pointed to hospice fraud in Los Angeles County. Yet Gavin Newsom did nothing about it. There were no guardrails. I'll give you an example. There are no guardrails to prevent a foreign country from claiming they're performing hospice duties in Los Angeles County and billing the government. 18% of all the hospice billing in America was in Los Angeles County. That's the level of fraud. That's not 18% of the population. That's not even 1% of the population. And it's just an example of where anyone that with any common sense, that cared anything about the American taxpayers, that cared anything about preventing fraud, could see that this was a problem, not only in California, but specifically in Los Angeles County. And yet he did nothing about it until now. We've announced the investigation. Well, he's announced he's putting additional guardrails on, and he's fired, several dozen contractors that were defrauding hospice and all that. Where have you been, Governor Newsom? And that's what we found in Minnesota. Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison knew about this, even when they were confronted by state employees. So what we hope happens in California is what we had happen in Minnesota, where we have brave whistleblowers come forward for a congressional investigation to be successful. Because we're not the FBI. We don't have the ability to bust through the door and apprehend anyone or get documents other than through subpoena. But what we have to be successful are whistleblowers, credible whistleblowers. We know there's a whistleblower in California that made some accusations years ago that turned out to be 100% true about the fraud in California. We hope that whistleblower will reach out to me and we can get them in an interview under oath to begin the process of bringing in Gavin Newsom.
So you are looking right now for and potentially have whistleblowers from inside of the fraud super system of California, and you are then going to be leveraging that against the governor's stewardship of the state.
Yeah, and I hope they see what we did in Minnesota. We protected those whistleblowers. They were not harassed. They were treated. We gave them whistleblower protection status. We worked with, we made it clear that Minnesota could not retaliate against those whistleblowers. And everything we did was right in how you deal with whistleblowers blowing the whistle on a major fraud scheme. Because it takes guts to step forward and blow the whistle on massive fraud, especially if you're a career government employee. So we hope that what we demonstrate in Minnesota with the respect to those whistleblowers will bleed over into California and Illinois and New York and all the other states where we know there's rampant fraud.
Do you currently have whistleblowers right now from the state of California?
We have some targets that we're trying to encourage to come in. And, you have to build that trust level. And I think one thing the Democrats have done, you go back to the Biden investigation where you had Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, and they harassed those whistleblowers. Democrats love whistleblowers that blow the whistle on Donald Trump, but they don't want whistleblowers to blow the whistle on any of their shenanigans and schemes. And we're trying to set the example on the oversight committee, the way we treated those whistleblowers in Minnesota. I hope that leads to more whistleblowers coming forward. And, sometimes whistleblowers blow the whistle and they're not telling the truth, or what they think is happening isn't happening. We made sure we vetted everything, and 100% of what we published in our report on Minnesota was factual, based on hours and hours and hours of transcribed interviews and hours of steady research.
What type of culpability is there, since you've, I believe, completed, or at the very least contributed a report on Minnesota? What type of culpability would there be for the Attorney General in Minnesota or for Tim Walz?
Well, honestly, the attorney general has more liability. You know, you can always plead ignorance, and ignorance usually prevails, unfortunately, in a lot of court cases in these liberal states with liberal judges. But you've got the recording that we've all heard of Ellison meeting with those Somali fraudsters saying, "Don't worry about it, I'll get them off your back," when they were nailed for fraud. And those fraudsters turned around and made a big campaign donation to Keith Ellison. That was played in our committee hearing, and this Senate had a committee hearing with Ellison. I can't remember which committee, but they played it. So that's something the Department of Justice could use to go after him. Waltz is going to play the ignorance card, which he does very well. You know, it's going to be hard to beat Waltz in court playing the ignorant card. But you're seeing people go to prison in Minnesota for fraud, and that's what people want. I think with the big politicians, a realistic goal, when you say what does accountability look like, letting the American people know. We let the American people know that Joe Biden's family was on the take, and a few months later, Joe Biden drops out of the presidential race. Now, there may have been other reasons, but that certainly didn't help. You go in Minnesota, when we started the investigation in Minnesota, Tim Walz dropped out of the governor's race. This is the guy that was just, you know, a few million votes from being vice president of the United States, dropped out of the governor's race because of this fraud. Gavin Newsom is the front runner for the Democrat nomination in 2028. We'll see what happens here. And I think that we've got to, especially the people that watch this show are passionate about, you know, going after the deep state and going after these corrupt politicians. We have to look at, you know, what is achievable from a congressional standpoint and shining the light on the corruption, letting the American people know how corrupt some of these politicians are. I think that's a pretty big win because, you know, it's had an adverse effect on their electoral success. And we're not doing it for political reasons. We're doing it for the taxpayers. That's who I represent on the Oversight Committee, the American taxpayers. And the taxpayers are being fleeced. They're being fleeced in all 50 states, but they're really being fleeced in these blue states with these governors who look in the mirror and think they're a future president of the United States.
Yeah. That's a pretty terrifying reflection. He's going gray, man. He's getting spooked. He's getting spooked. This isn't going to be. So you think that it could potentially be Gavin Newsom before your committee answering questions about fraud?
Well, we'll see. We would love to have him. We've had you know, several Democrat governors in front of the committee. We've had some Republican governors in front of the committee. But at the end of the day, I think that we're focused like a laser on fraud. And that we started in Minnesota, and now we're rolling into California, and this hospice fraud cannot be denied. And the fact that, you know, Gavin Newsom's now trying to back up and cover his tracks and say, "Oh, okay, we're going to fire some people, we're going to put more guardrails up." Where have you been for the last 3 years, Governor Newsom? Because this has been happening for a long time, and you've been aware of it for 3 years.
Yes. That would be a really exciting committee hearing, and I guess we'll wait and see. I guess a final question for you, based on the way that the Bill and Hillary Clinton deposition went, which was, I guess, wildly entertaining, as one way to describe it. Will they be doing a public hearing or no?
I told them they could do a public hearing. They said they wanted it to be public. I haven't heard back from them. I feel like they got all the oversight committee they wanted. If they want to come in for a public hearing, I told them they're more than welcome to come in. I doubt they do. And Benny, I want you to know, so as chairman of the committee, I preside over those depositions. I had about a 45-minute instance where I had to defend your honor and a couple of members of my committee's honor with the Hillary deposition. So, you know, I said, I don't know how Benny Johnson got the picture, but he's a good man. He's a good man. And believe it or not, there were disputes from Hillary's lawyers about whether or not you were a good man or not. I'm like, no, Benny Johnson, he's solid. He's solid. He's a good man.
Mr. Chairman, you just made my day. If Hillary Clinton's lawyers likes me, then I am doing something horribly wrong.
They don't. I can assure you, they do.
Okay, that's great. I'm doing something really
they don't
wrong.
like me either. So you're in
with my career. Yeah, that's right. I constantly, I told my wife, like, we're getting a food taster, right? We're not going to take the dog on a walk at night.
Yeah.
You know, no long walks in the woods. We're going to stay off piers. and we're going to stay out of federal penitentiary, as best we can. And so here's hoping. I'm a praying man. So here's hoping. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, everybody needs to follow James Comer. 300,000 subscribers just right here on X. Breaks a lot of news. Is in charge of this committee and is running it, man. And getting true W's. And so thank you at the very least for the entertainment of Hillary Clinton melting down and shrieking and screaming. That was a blast. And Bill Clinton oogling his hot tub photos. Boy, that was cinema.
He enjoyed those. He enjoyed his trip down memory lane. Bill did.
That guy was reminiscing. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, bro, you're on camera. His lawyer's like, you're on camera.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Totally different depositions. Hillary, not someone I probably hang out with again. Bill Clinton, I've never been I've never voted for Bill Clinton, but I will tell you, he has some charm and charisma that I've never been around before. Now, was he telling the truth? I doubt it, but it was a more enjoyable deposition than Hillary's was. And it wasn't just a little mix up with the picture that ended up on your website. There were 4 or 5 instances of the wheels coming off, but we made it. I just want you to know I defended your honor in there.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I guess that's the reason why Bill Clinton won 2 presidential elections and Hillary Clinton's lost 2 presidential primaries.
I saw it up close and personal. You're exactly right.
That's right. People can sense that. That's why that's why everybody, even the people who hate Trump, like Bill Maher, when they meet him, they just they end up liking him. Some people got that. Right?
That's exactly right.
Some people got it.
Yep.
Thank you, Chairman Comer. We appreciate you. Godspeed.
Yep. See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a remarkable interview. My production team is telling me that people want the chat to be live on screen while we're doing the interviews. Why don't we move it to doing that? The reason why it's off screen is not because I don't want your comments on screen. Your comments are on screen for the vast majority of the show. The reason why it's off screen is that sometimes, and I'm going to show you here, sometimes we have a guest who comes on and they're on their cell phone and their face is right here. And it's it's hard, sometimes they're in frame, but even if they're in frame, they can, the chat is kind of potentially covering their mouth and face as they're talking, and it's important to see people when they're talking. And so that's our worry, technically, from a technical standpoint about having the chat on screen. Certainly not your comments. You can make any comment you want. Or pro free speech here. But the worry is an aesthetic one. In order to have the have the chat covering the guest's face, does that limit the ability for us to see what they're saying, and in order to have a clip afterwards where you can see what they're saying? But we can try it. I have no problem trying it. Maybe we just take it down if we have the wrong shot, or if it stops looking good. Maybe perhaps we can do the guest on the other side, or do the chat. Yeah, do the chat more like that. Right. Yeah. So we have modules. Yeah, we have modules for the chat. Anyway, that's why. Just FYI. Your golden era brought to you by Advantage Gold, our longtime friends, and the people who have been at our side and at our back for a long time, making sure that we have a hedge against an insane market, physical gold and silver. They're winning right now. It's a strategy that has been proven and is really solid. You flip your 401k or IRA or retirement account into a gold-backed account with the #1 rated precious metals companies. Get started by texting Advantage Gold. Text Benny to 85545 right now. That's BENNY to 85545 right now. You'll get a free gold investment kit. Don't wait. Gold keeps going up. Text Benny to 85545 right now. Okay. I guess we'll see what happens this weekend. I am, I'm cautiously optimistic about the war in Iran. Hopefully winding down. Kind of what I want, honestly, because I want a massive focus on domestic policies. We're going to be speaking at CPAC, at least that's the plan right now. tomorrow, and then we're going to be in D.C. on Friday. More big and exciting news for you, and more exciting things ahead. It's going to be a wild ride. Stay locked in. There's no guarantee for what's going to happen next, but it's good for you to always depend on something that you, well, that won't let you down. That's our verse of the day, Psalms 9:1. I will give you thanks to the Lord with all my heart. I will tell of your wonderful deeds. I will give thanks to you, O Lord, with all my heart. I will tell of your wonderful deeds. It's a really important thing for us to constantly remember. We talk about the bad stuff all the time, and we do it on the show. We're constantly talking about bad things that are happening, but not about the good things that are happening. And I think that's critically important to refocus on that. And it's human nature. I mean, we live in a sunken world. It's human nature to focus on the bad. But this is the good. And God, look back on your life and then see where you are now. And could you have possibly imagined it? I can't. And if you have the right mindset, and if you have the right vision, you'll see that there's miracle after consistent miracle that brought you here, and is not to be forgotten about. God's pretty clear about that in the Old Testament. Be thankful for the subsequent miracles that you've lived through, so that you can get to this point right now. And then just because you want to go places in the future and you're constantly looking at that, doesn't mean you should forget what's happened here with your past and what God has brought you through. Absolutely critical to be able to see both, appreciate both, and build. Build with us, march with us, on to victory. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
What's in the box? Dead voters' drums in the ballot box. Mr. O'Keefe, would you like some drugs? This ballot needs your John Hancock, but guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day it is? It's Hump Day. Get it on. Hump Day. Whoa. Get it on. Hump Day. Hump Day. Hump Day.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, assault from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, assault from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.